Вітаю, це медіа-центр Ukraine Одеса. Сьогодні наш брифінг присвячений співпраці регіону Прованс-Альпи, Лазурний берег, Французька Республіка, з Одеською областю. До нас завітали Роман Григоришин, заступник голови Одеської обласної державної адміністрації, Рено Мюзельє, президент регіону Прованс-Альпи, Лазурний берег. Ради привітати вас у медіа-центрі. Будь ласка, пане Романе, вам слово.
Вітаю, шановні колеги.
As you know, I signed an agreement with Monsieur Muselier last year. It was an agreement on intention to sign agreement between Ukraine, mainly Odesa region, and Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur. It was bilateral initiative about the beginning of new partnership relations, and we hope that this collaboration will be useful for both regions. And today the delegation, together with Mr. President, is working in Odesa Oblast before trip to Kyiv. And during today, we have meeting with delegations of Odesa Oblast and Provence-Alpes-Côte. We visited Odesa Regional Childhood Hospital and the old part of Odesa city with the heritage of cultural heritage of UNESCO. We showed to Mr. President our opera theater. And also we have a meeting in the Agency of Regional Development, and we agreed the collaboration between this agency and Region of Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur. Thank you very much to Mr. President that he has such a strong position in such a difficult time for us and support us in such an easy time. And I give the floor to him. Thank you, Roman. Thank you to all of you that you are here. This trip is very important both for collaboration between two regions, mainly for region of Provence-Côte d'Azur and Odesa Oblast, and there is another event which I want to visit. There will be a big congress in Kiev, and there I will have the floor as the director of French region.
Dans le cadre de la guerre qui est aujourd'hui livrée par la Russie à l'Ukraine, et aussi de reconstruction derrière, et qui s'articule sur la base de plusieurs actions qui ont déjà eu lieu et que je vais énumérer.
This trip it concerns two issues. The first one is to support Ukraine and to tell you about our support, and then to discuss the future reconstruction of Ukraine after the end of war, and we want to implement those ideas that we have discussed for recent time.
Il y a un an, au lendemain des déclarations de guerre, et c'est le moment où nous avons manifesté, nous, les Européens et les régions d'Europe, notre soutien total aux Ukrainiens.
And in Marseille, after the beginning of the Russian invasion, we have a summit of regions and cities of Europe, and we used this event in order to support Ukrainian people. And at that time, we received near 5,000 of refugees from Ukraine. Mainly these are women with their children from Ukraine, and we laid funds to it, and the total amount of this budget is 11,000 million euro. And we also organized our traditional congress, which topic was the future of Mediterranean basin. And we invited Mr. Roman as the representative of Odesa Oblast to this congress in order to sign this protocol about our intention of collaboration at this congress, and we hope that we will implement them together. Today, my trip to Odesa and Ukraine began with a very great moment with the military cemetery. We put flowers to the dead military men, and we met with the representatives of Odesa authority. And during this day, it was very rich with events. We have meeting with the mayor of Odesa. We visited Odesa Regional Children's Hospital, and we discussed certain topics. And now we will finish our program in Odesa. And also we visited the Agency of Regional Development, And also within the framework of our context, we discussed the collaboration between the ports of regions. And then taking into consideration the fact that there are two big ports in both countries, and Marseille port is the first biggest port in France, and brotherhood relations with Odesa, we discussed to the item in order to change specialists between our ports in order to share the experience of work and of their own professional knowledge. And of course, we have one more direction. It's agriculture in the south of France. So we have a lot of experience in processing of a lot of agricultural raw materials into another products, and we will support this initiative in developing of agricultural collaboration also. And also tourism is a great question, because you know that France is the biggest touristic country in the world, and it attracts tourists very much, and we have second place in the world in attracting tourists, and our special committee on organization tourism that we have established in our country. It is the tool that helps to our Odesa colleagues to develop their touristic branch. We also visited today the Agency of Regional Development. And during these visits, we saw that the approach in work of this agency is very similar to our approach. And we have practically the same aim. Our organization's name is Rising Sun. On the south, it's a French term, and we also want to collaborate in future. And then our previous specialities with the mayor, they are the same. Both me and he, we have experience in medical sphere. We were doctors, and it facilitates our collaboration and our cooperation. And during the visit of regional hospital, we discussed providing 3 reanimation tables to this hospital. And we will adopt this proposition in June of that year. And then Mayor of Odesa was interested in my own experience in such a question as rehabilitation and reconstruction. And in fact, the change of functioning from Marseille port, because I was the head of organization, the Mediterranean Sea, and being the part of this organization, we cooperated in such a question as rehabilitation of Marseille port and to modernize it. And we also want to help you to modernize your port. And the last thing I want to tell you, but it is not the last our priority. On our behalf, we will help you with the organization of such events as World Championship on rugby and part of our Olympic Games, future Olympic Games on sailing, and other projects of such types that creates both for me and Roman the common ground for our cooperation and collaboration, which is very important for Mr. Roman for Organization Expo 2030. And then we joined to the proposition of the President of France, whose support of Ukraine is very steady, and we feel this support in UN Security Agency. And our presidents, they meet very often. And as we understand, it is very important to win in this war, which is the conflict of civilizations, of differences in values, and it is a great challenge for our economics, our population, and our liberties. And now we are struggling for freedom, for the same values of civilization. And it's very important for us we support Ukraine in all the way, both at the level of state in total and the level of separate regions. I am the head of Regional Council of the South of France and director of Association of French Regions and the representatives of Odesa Regional Administration. And I hope tomorrow I will tell about it during the Congress, which will be headed by President Zelensky. Thank you very much for your review. And now we have questions and answers session. I have a question. Tell me, please, it is very difficult, but if we are not if we are not telling about war, what are the obstacles for Odessa in becoming such prosperous in tourism as France? And the second question is about reconstruction of port. So please, can you repeat the first questions? What are the obstacles for Odessa on its way to become a touristically attractive region? What about projects regarding ports? You have asked your mayor. But during our talk with the mayor, I remembered such an episode in my career that one organization that was organized in our country, it helped us to restore zone between city and port and use it in our port. And within the frameworks of these projects, we were able to restore these empty zones. We made museums or we made them useful for ships and for port in total, and then we renew the buildings and hangars for ships, and we made them useful for office apartments. And it helped us to give prosperous to these regions, to make them more dynamic and more prosperous. And what about your question about tourism? If it isn't peace, you won't have tourists, and you understand it. You understand that the conditions should be safe for tourists, but at the same time you have a large amount of attractive values in your region. I don't want to lessen the importance of your capital, but your Odesa is more important and prosperous for us, and it is a beautiful city. It was received by UNESCO in its heritage. Maybe like one of the reasons is that France took part in building of Odessa city. And I want to thank local authority that they defeat the monument to Richelieu, which is the symbol of French presence. Thank you very much. The next question. Michael? So, okay, now we will finish our briefing. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much to you also. We have Roman Hrygoryshyn, Deputy Head of the Odesa Oblast Military Administration, and Renaud Muselier, President of Region of Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur, and we will meet you tomorrow. Thank you very much.